Hi everyone, welcome back to Faraday Academy for another Python live stream. I'm here with JT again this Sunday.
How's it going?
You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm JT. I just graduated from Kenzie Academy, which is a year-long coding school, we'll say. I don't want to call it a boot camp necessarily, but yeah, and I've just been working with JavaScript and Python. I really enjoy Codewars. They're really fun, and so that's what I'm doing here, I guess, is helping with this Codewars problem.
Hi nobodies, how are you? Great. Yeah, it was a lot of fun last week, so we decided to do this again. And this week we actually have a nicer setup for these Codewars challenges. So I'm going to go ahead and start screen sharing so we can get into it. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm happy to be streaming. Let's see, screencast. Okay. Nope, that's the wrong screencast. 1 second. Now I'm just showing JT.
Hello,
So.
everyone. This is now my podcast, and
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I know why I'm showing you, because I have your video over here. This is what I want to be doing. All right. Yeah, this is Codewars. Yeah. Because so basically I have to call the guest through Skype because that's the only way to hook into my streaming software. So I had Skype open instead of my regular desktop like I do for every other stream.
what do you use for streaming?
Oh, I use Ecamm Live.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people use OBS, but I was having so many problems with the sound, and I tried to stream like 3 or 4 times and it didn't work out the correct way. So I bit the bullet, I guess, and I pay like $13 a month and it just works really well every single time, and it has a lot of built-in features.
Cool. Yeah, I've played a little bit with OBS, and yeah, it gave me a lot of troubles too. So
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm not that good with that stuff, so I just figured whatever, I want the easy software.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So this is codewars.com that I'm in. Let me zoom in one. That's 150%. Should be able to see that. But codewars.com is basically a challenge site for coding algorithms and challenges. And they have levels 1 through 8, 8 being the easiest, 1 being the hardest. We wanted to pick a challenge today that we could finish in about an hour again. So JT picked this level 5 for us, called the first variation on Caesar Cipher. If you want to know more about Caesar's Cipher, somewhere in the description here, it's linked to this Wikipedia, Caesar Cipher. You can read about it. It's a very early cryptographic or cryptography algorithm,
Yeah.
basically. So I'm going to read the description real quick. The action of a Caesar cipher is to replace each plain text letter. Oh, let me get our faces out. Is to replace each plain text letter with a different one, a fixed number of places up or down the alphabet. This program performs a variation on the Caesar shift. The shift increases by 1 for each character on each iteration. Oh, okay. So you got the complicated one.
Yeah.
If the shift is initially 1, the first character of the message will be to be encoded will be shifted by 1. The second character will be shifted by 2, etc. Coding parameters and return function moving shift. So it's giving us some information about the parameters. It's going to give us, we'll have S, which is a string. That's the input, and then we have to encrypt that string. and then it's going to give us a number or an integer of how many shifts for the initial shift. So we could get 1 for the initial shift, and then we would increment by 1. So the second shift would be 2, etc. College flashbacks. The function moving shift first codes the entire string and then returns an array of strings containing the coded string in 5 parts. 5 parts because to avoid more risks, the coded message will be given to 5 runners, 1 piece for each runner. Okay.
Yeah, it gets a little more complicated even after the shift part.
Okay, so we're shifting the letters and then we're doing other things. And then we're splitting it into a list. Okay. If possible, the message will be equally divided by message length between the 5 runners. If this is not possible, parts 1 to 5 will have subsequently non-increasing lengths such that parts 1 to 4, this is a really long description, are at least as long when easily divided, but at most 1 longer. If the last part is the empty string, this empty string must be shown in the resulting array. Okay. For example, if the coded message has a length of 17, the 5 parts will have a length of 4, 4, 4, 4, and 1. The parts 1, 2, 3, 4 are evenly split, and the last part of length 1 is shorter. If the length is 16, the parts will be of length 4, 4, 4, 0. Parts 1, 2, 3, 4 are evenly split, and the 5th runner will stay home since his part is the empty string. Okay. This actually reminds me of this gamified running app I play, which is Zombies Run. And they have this ancient storyline that I just finished. It was basically you're a Roman centurion and you have to make peace with this other tribe, and then it gets into the undead rising. Of course, it's a zombie game, but yeah, something like this. You have to bring a message.
Oh, okay.
Did we go over... We went over pretty much everything. We're given an array of strings and an int shift.
So this is, there's basically 2 functions we have to do. We have to do the moving shift is what we just talked about, and then demoving shift, which is basically doing the same thing, but the opposite direction. So we take an array, and then we return the non-Caesar ciphered version of what that string would be.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, can everyone hear us okay? Me and JT, do you need the volume adjusted or anything? Let us know. Alright, so for this week, we have something special that JT actually set up, which is VS Code Live. So, oh, let me get the face out. Okay. So we have VS Code Live here, and so we'll both be able to type. See, I can move my cursor here, and I think the yellow cursor is, yeah, that's JT's.
That's cool.
Awesome. So we have the test set up locally too. So we have tests and we have the Cipher. So we'll be able to type it in here. And then when we think we have a good solution that passes the 5 tests that we have, we'll go ahead and put it in the browser for the 100 or so long tests, like when you submit a challenge or attempt a challenge. So I'll go ahead and click train in the browser. All right. There we go. So where do you want to start, JT?
So I think the easiest part is going to be shifting the letter given a like specific integer shift to that letter. I think probably I always like making extra functions and stuff, like coding as much outside of the function as possible. It just helps me kind of reason it out, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing that I would do here probably is do like shift char, or car, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll give the C and the integer shift. So it's going to essentially look like the same as moving shift, but instead of taking an entire string, we'll just take one character of a string and then shift that.
Okay. Hi, Abdul. How are you?
Okay. So the other thing that we need here is kind of a reference to the alphabet, right? For the test, I think, do we care about caps, or is everything going to be, how does this thing work? All right, so
For reference, could we just use ASCII, or do we need the whole reference?
So one of the issues that we're going to run into is it looks like, 'cause I'm looking at the test.py. So what I did to create the test.py is I literally just went to the kata and hit attempt, and then printed the output of the attempt, or the input and the output, and that's how I made this. Like I just copy and pasted from the test, and that's how I made these. So if you look here, the first letter is I, and it's going to be shifted by 1, so then it'll turn to J. But it's a capital I, and this J is capital as well, right? So if the letter itself is capital, when it's shifted, it's going to remain capital. So if we just use the ASCII letters or ASCII characters, I can't remember what the what it's called or how to import it exactly, but it's going to return a string of A to Z lowercase and then A to Z uppercase, right? So if we try to shift along that specific string, what's going to end up happening is the lowercase will eventually be shifted to an uppercase, if that makes sense, right? Do you know what I'm talking about with that? Okay.
Do we want them to loop, like if it's, I can't remember. So if it's, let's say ASCII 97 or whatever, we basically want the lowercase ones to loop and only ever be lowercase, right?
Correct, yeah.
Uppercase to loop and only ever be uppercase.
Mm-hmm. So there's a couple easy ways to do this. So typically what I do is going back to the cipher.py file, I would do something like, I almost did let alphabet, but this is Python.
Are you in Cipher? Okay.
Yeah, so every time I do the alphabet, I have to sing it in my head.
Okay, so you just made a string. That's easy.
Right. We would need one. So we could go about this two ways. We could, one, keep track if the character is uppercase or not when it's passed in, and then convert it to lowercase and shift it along the alphabet string that I just set up, and then convert it back to uppercase. Or we could just have two alphabets, one for uppercase and one for lowercase, and then check if it's in either one, and then shift it and grab it from whatever array it's in, if that makes sense.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we could just have this one alphabet, because we can also do two upper on the whole alphabet, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. We wouldn't want, like, if we... Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right. We wouldn't want to necessarily store it like do alphabet equals alphabet.upper.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know that would matter, because if it is uppercase, then we're only going to use the uppercase library. So, all right, I think I'm thinking of this too much. I tend to like over engineer things in my head a lot of times. Okay, so basically what we want to do now is see if C is in alphabet. So, we could just do if C is not in the alphabet, then we can do if C is in alphabet.upper, right? So we can do a check, and if it's not there, then we check for if it's in uppercase. and if not, then we would just return the character, right?
Okay.
So then we could do something like if C an alphabet, we'll just pass her now. LFC in right? Is that how you do it, or is upper a function that I pass around the alphabet?
No, I think it's a method here.
Okay. And then if neither of these two do anything, we can just return C, right? Because we don't, anything that's not going to be in this alphabet, we just don't touch and we leave it as is.
Okay.
So if C is an alphabet, then what we want to do is index equals, what is it? Alphabet dot, or is it just index? Yeah, okay. C, and then return. Okay, cool. I can spell sometimes, I promise. It's really hard to write this code and then also talk out loud explaining like what I'm doing at the same time.
Yeah, that is the hard part of streaming.
Okay, so what we're doing right here essentially is we're grabbing the index of whatever character we passed in, because we know it's going. We know because of this if statement that the character is going to be inside the string. But in order to say if we only want to shift A once, we'd go A to B. We need to know wherever this character is in the string, so that's what the index is. And so what we're actually going to do here is just do, we're going to return the index plus the shift, and then we're going to mod that by the length of the alphabet, right? Because then if it ever goes to, I think in this case 26, it'll rotate back to 0 because of how modulus arithmetic works,
Yeah.
which is a whole guide in and of itself. So we'll do like just index plus shift, and I think you do actually have to put this in a parenthesis here because I think Python respects order of operations. So then we just do len alphabet here, and that should return whatever character C is shifted to.
I think that's actually a clean, nice-looking solution.
Thank you. And we're basically going to do the exact same thing in this elif branch here, except we're just going to make the alphabet uppercase.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we can always clean it up later.
Yeah. So then we do if C is an alphabet dot upper.
We could just get rid of. We could have. So right after alphabet here. Oh, I can type too. Wait.
Yep. Yeah.
So we could just say like. Let me copy this. So if. And then alphabet equals alphabet dot upper, because this resets with each character anyway. Right?
You're right.
And
yes,
then we don't
that's
need the
smart.
whole if else.
Yeah, so then all we need is just to check if C is an alphabet. Or actually, well, yeah, no, we still need that check because of non-alphabet characters that can get passed in.
Oh, like strings, exclamation point stuff. Okay.
Right.
All right.
And so actually, just to see, just to double check and make sure this works, what we can do down here is just, we don't need the dunder name for this, I don't think. So it would just be print. Hold on, let me add that F there. I missed the F in the shift char function, so it was a completely different thing.
Oh. Okay.
All right, so that should return B, right? Let's just, and there we go. Cool.
Hi, Abrisa.
And then let's check. Actually, here, let's do a couple of things.
1 second, JT. 1 second.
No worries.
try to fix the buffering. If I can. Let me go back to the screencast. Alright. Cool. So hopefully that's a little bit better, Briso. Alright. So, oh yeah, you made these print statements. So now we're passing in lowercase a and uppercase a with a shift.
Yep. Actually, maybe this one should be one as well, just to keep track. But basically what I want to test is make sure A returns B, and then lowercase a returns lowercase b, and uppercase A returns uppercase B.
Okay.
If I run that, I get the correct results for that function.
Oops, I just closed the terminal.
Alright, so let's see if you run it if it asks for permissions again, but it shouldn't. You should be able to just hit run up in the top right of VS Code.
Oh, okay.
There's like a green button.
I just reopened the terminal.
Okay.
But it's not... Oh,
do you see the... Okay.
Oh, wait, it's not in the correct directory.
Go to... Just... If you close the terminal and then go up to... You see the play button at the right, and like on the right side of where the tabs are? The tabs that say like Cipher Pi or whatever.
This? The bug?
No, no. So it's in the top right of VS Code.
Oh, top
You'll
right.
See,
okay.
Yeah, you'll see like a green play button on the right side at the top. Press that. That should just run the code, I believe.
Cool. So it's open, and it ran, and it said there's no such file or directory. Oh, because I'm in.
Huh.
Can't open site. Oh, because I'm in my root directory. I have no idea where this file is because I'm sharing it with you.
Yeah, it should just
or you're
open
sharing
it.
it with me.
Right. It should just open it. How did you run? Because remember I asked you to run the Cipher test, and it said that it couldn't because you didn't have permissions or whatever. It was a write-only file. How did you run the tests?
Yeah, I think when I'm trying to get it working. When you first invited me, this was in the right place, and then when I closed it, it's not.
We could just close the share, and then I can re-invite you again if you wanted to try that. From the VS Code.
Sure, I'm just gonna try to.
Oh, you might actually go to.
Oh, cool! I found it.
Yeah, that's literally. Okay, cool.
That's the same thing you were about to say.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder. Okay, so yeah, we're actually in the same terminal right now. I'm pretty sure because when you cleared it, it just cleared mine too.
Cool. It says it's a shared terminal. This is pretty awesome.
This is really neat. All right, so a little marketing for VS Code's extension here.
Yeah. All right, so you want me to run this file? Python.
Yeah.
Cipher.py. Sweet, it shifted. Does everyone see that? We got our lowercase b, and then we got an uppercase B, because they both shifted by 1. All right.
All right, so that's the easy part done.
Yeah. This has so many pieces.
Yeah. Now, realistically, all we need to do as far as the string is concerned is basically loop through every character in the string, and then pass it to shift char and increase the shift by 1 for each iteration of the loop, right?
Yeah.
So we would need something like, we'll say for in S, actually we should do something like, right, so now we have the index, and the index is important for knowing what shift we should be applying to the character.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Right now, I wonder how Python does building. Not that it would matter for performance reasons for this problem, but I wonder if it would be better to do kind of like JavaScript, where you create an array and then you add strings to that array, and at the end you join them, because I think that's like the most efficient way to build a string. Not that it matters, just a thought.
Well, here we separate them at the end because we have to create a list, right?
Yeah, at the end we do have to.
We're talking about two different things.
We're talking about two different things. I went off again on a little tangent, just like typically strings are immutable, right? So whenever you added a string, you create a whole new string. I was curious how Python handled strings under the hood. I guess is what like the general idea I was going for there was.
Oh, okay. We'll have to have Daniel back on to tell us.
Yeah. Okay, so essentially what we can do with ciphertext is we loop through each of the characters in the string, and we're going to pass them to the shift char function. So we'll pass in just the current character we're on, and then we do shift plus index here, right? Because so the first element that we iterate over in the list of characters for the string is going to be index 0, right? So that's the one we just apply the shift to. And then since how the cipher works is every character afterwards we increase the shift by 1, the second character is going to have the index at 1, right? Because arrays are 0 index, so that it'll be shift plus 1, then shift plus 2, so on and so forth.
That makes sense. 1 second.
No problem.
I'm going to... Okay, I posted the Codewars, or the link to the Codewars in the chat. Let me know if you can see that. Sometimes it strips links from the chat. But I'm the host, so I don't think it will. I hope it doesn't for me. Sorry if it's low quality.
On the stream, how would I pronounce that name? SDXA. Try if you hit if you're on mobile and you hit the little 3 dots, try turning the quality to looks like 720p is the max right now. It might have auto set your quality to like 140p or something.
Yeah, I think 720 is the max that I can go at for ultra low latency, because I want the comments to pop up sooner, so YouTube forces me to not stream in full HD. Okay, cool. You got it. Awesome.
Dope. All right.
All right. So now we're calling our shift.
Mm-hmm.
We're looping over the string per character. We're calling our shift for each character. Okay, so that looks like it works.
Right. And actually, that is something we can test. So if we'd have to return ciphertext. Oh, what? Oh, I always add extra letters where they don't need to be. Cool. And then if we actually go to the ciphertest.py, I think if we run it, we will get. Oh, okay. So it's saying when I run it, unsupported operand types for plus, int, and string. So does interesting.
Oh, I see. It's in the terminal.
Yeah. Sorry.
Unsupported operand type.
Right, and it's
equals. So ciphertext is a string, and then shift character, is that returning?
It just returns. Well, we know it returns the letter, right? Because when we ran the terminal a second ago, it returned lowercase b and uppercase b.
Yeah.
So I wonder if just here. Let's try this, and I'll actually do it in this terminal. So if we just call Python, and then we'll say as okay, so it should work. I didn't know if maybe Python was weird with the plus equal operator, because I know it doesn't have the plus plus. If I remember, it doesn't have like integer plus plus.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it does the plus plus. I always do the plus equals. So
I'm not sure.
Maybe we should add a print here so we can debug this somehow.
Where would you want to put the print?
Oh, I should exit the. Okay, REPL. Well, it should be somewhere in the for loop, right?
Yeah. I guess we could do something like this. How do you? Oh, yeah, it's f strings. That's right. So.
But I think you're gonna have to put the f string or the variable around the whole shift char, right? Oh no, you're just showing what you're passing into it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then we just do shift.
Oh, that's a long line.
Yeah, it's not gonna stay here, so that's why.
Okay.
Am I missing something? Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We didn't need this, but to me this just makes it more clear, like exactly what we're printing over here.
Yeah, that's very well formatted.
Thanks. Okay, so then we have to go. Well, okay, so it's actually probably better if we just call it here, because we don't want a lot of the test information that otherwise would get printed out. We'll just do that.
Okay. Do you need the print because it's already printing from inside the method?
I still was curious about if it returned something or not.
Okay.
So it didn't even reach that print statement, it seems like. Here, maybe not. Let's just do this. And you're right, and see if that's the statement that causes it.
No, because it's just. Oh yeah, comment that out if we can.
Yeah. So.
Is shift plus index? Is that it? Maybe.
Well, shift should be a number, right?
Okay.
And then index is also a number, and it's saying plus int and string.
Are you sure? Because isn't enumerate? Don't you put the index before the char?
Oh, you might. I might be doing that incorrectly. Let's see. Just looking it up real quick.
I hear you typing. Oh, you're looking it up. Okay.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
So it let's see. I'm
pretty sure that index goes first, and then if you want the character, it's the second one.
That is it. Yeah, it's index and then the character.
Okay. Silly mistake.
Yep. I do that all the time, especially for things in like JavaScript when you're doing the .map and like the index always comes after the current element you're looking at.
Yeah.
All right. Let's try this now.
Sweet. So
Nailed it.
We got some output down here.
Look at that beautiful print statement. I just wanna point that out real quick. All right. And so.
1 + 6. Yeah, that looks like it's working perfectly, actually.
Awesome. Cool. So now what we have to do is take the cipher text. We can get rid of that print statement. we got to take this ciphertext and we got to break it up into 5 buckets, right?
Yeah.
So, excuse me, sorry. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. So I'm just it's really dry in my house, so I have to keep drinking lots and lots of water.
Oh yeah, it's starting to get really hot here.
Yeah, it's like 80 something, I think.
Yeah.
Or it was. Yeah, and my room has one vent, and it's a really small room, so my vent is covered halfway or a little more than halfway by my bed, just sitting on top of it. So I just get no ventilation in my room at all. It's great.
Cyberpunk, great name by the way, is asking what book you would recommend for learning DS and algorithms. Data science?
Data structures.
Data structures and algorithms. That makes sense. Do you have any books?
I can't read those books. Like I have tried so many times to pick up a programming book and read it, and I can't do it. I'm definitely more of like a read the description on Wikipedia and then implement it myself to really understand it. So if you want to like air quotes around book to read, I would just say Wikipedia. I don't.
There's one book that I really like. It's the Illustrated Guide to Algorithms. I really want to look it up real quick. Yeah, let me look it up because this one is just so good.
Does it have a lot of pictures? Because that would help.
It has illustrations, but it's not like a child cartoon, you know? It's like helpful illustrations.
Oh, now I want to make that like a book series of explaining like advanced computer science topics like they're an 8-year-old's book with pictures and stuff.
Oh, this is it. Grokking Algorithms. An illustrated guide. So let me put grokking. Illustrated. Yeah. So if you look that up, I don't want to click on my Amazon account here. It's by Manning Publications. And it's hands down the best algorithms book that I have ever read. It's just so good. And the cool thing about Manning is, sorry for interrupting this, but I think you can come here and, I have to move our face. You can come to their site and see on the left you can download, I'm on the wrong screen. You can download the source code, and I think you can read the book online here for free. Yeah, it says you can see this entire book online for free. You can also buy the ebook or regular book. I don't know why you would buy an audiobook to an illustrated guide, but you could do that too. Yeah, so that's the book you need to get. So anyway, back to the code.
Huh. I'll have to check it out and see, or like see if I can find excerpts or something. Yeah, really quick, just continuing on that tangent, one thing that I'd really recommend doing as far as like data structures and algorithms is it's nice to know them, that's fine, but what you really want to do is figure out where and when you can apply them, right? Because what is it? There's this like law, like the it's not actually a law, obviously, it's like a social thing, but a lot of people, when they learn a new tool, like it's as if you just learned how to use a hammer and there's nails everywhere. Like you want to apply that everywhere. And
everything looks like a nail when you have a hammer or something.
Yeah, something like that. So just really learn like when and where the appropriate places and what problems that those, because like an algorithm and data structure, they're containers that you put data in to solve problems, right? So you want to figure out what problems that those solve and where, and that's how you like learn when to use them, essentially.
Okay. I guess Codewars Challenges is perfect for practicing them.
Yeah, you won't always need like in this case we don't need necessarily any sort of specific data structure or algorithm. Like we're coming up with the algorithm as we go, right? So we're using an algorithm, but not something like like A-star pathfinding is an algorithm that's used for a very specific thing, right? And so there are specific algorithms that you'll learn that will help you solve very general problems, but you have to figure out where to apply them and such.
Okay. All right. Recombine linked list and Ks for solving some specific problems that called it custom Ks.
Wait, did you say you know that those are pronounced Q's, right?
Q's? Yeah, I've heard people call them Q's. I've always said K's though.
That's funny. Yeah, no, they're Q's.
Oh, maybe it's a Boston thing. I don't know. I think my parents say that too.
Do they line up in a K? Like
Yeah.
if you're waiting for something?
Yeah.
Oh,
when I'm
wow.
at
Okay.
the amusement park, I get in the K.
I have literally never heard that before. Yeah, I guess that might be a regional accent thing.
All right. Yeah, anyways, we got totally sidetracked. So we have our shift working.
We're gonna get half of this done today. All right.
Yeah. Well, we need to make the array, right? How do we make the array?
So we can do, I'm pretty sure we can use the Python, like the split notation here to segment off sections of the string. We just need to know how large each one of those sections should be. The problem is going to be when we have something that's length is not equally divisible by 5, because then we'll have there's a couple in the example, but we'll have like 16, and so we'll have what is it, 4 or a string of length 4 in each of the 4 slots of the array, and then the last array will be empty, right?
Yeah.
So the number is really easy to figure out, like what each of the first four elements should have if it's not equal. So it's literally just going to be the ceiling of the length of the string divided by 5, because that'll round up to the next number. So if we have
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So then
I think that will work. Nobody's even asking that question in like every stream, I feel like. And nobody ever has any idea why TypeScript is bad with monorepos.
What is a monorepo?
So when you look at some large repos like FreeCodeCamp, they have multiple apps in the same repo. And sometimes they deploy these apps to different places, but they're all in the same repo together. So you could be like Google. I think Google's one big monorepo, all their apps.
Does that solve any particular issues besides just like having your code base in various places, or?
Well, so sometimes, yeah. So sometimes it helps with deployments, code sharing, and some other use cases.
Okay.
And there are tools and libraries to help you manage the monorepo. Sometimes it's easier for testing too.
Oh, okay, I'll have to look into it. I'm learning all kinds of new things in your streams.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so now we need to, what's the next step? Figuring out.
We have to figure out how to split the Cipher text into an array.
So we need to do that in moving shift in this function, right?
Yeah, inside moving shift. Eventually what we're going to want to do is actually return the array. It's going to always contain 5 elements inside the array, and it's going to be basically split up. Like we're going to split the string into 5 buckets, and then so basically how to determine how many characters or how much of a string goes in one bucket, we have to figure out what the length of is divided by 5, and that'll give us some number. Most of the time it's not going to be divisible by 5, so we'll have to round up that number, and then to figure, so that'll give us how many strings in the first 4 elements, and then to find how many characters in the string go in the 5th element. Then what we do is we can take that number, multiply it by 4, and then subtract the length of the string by that number that we just got from the multiplying 4 by the bucket size, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense? I know that seemed like a lot.
It was a lot.
Well, so basically, if you think about it, what we'll have is bucket size, right? Actually, this is going to be a long variable name, and we can change it later. But just because that kind of makes it very apparent what's going on here. But we can do, I think it's math. Do we have to call math or import math in Python? Yeah, we have to import math in Python.
Yeah,
so
but it's not the same math.
Is it just?
Oh, where are you? Here at the top.
Yeah. So we want to import math because we're gonna use the ceil function.
Okay.
And then math.ceil. I can't spell that word. And then we just do len of the string, right, divided by 5, because we're gonna have 5 elements in the array. And so this will give us the first, like the number of characters that we put in each of the first 4 buckets.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And then
yeah, I'm just wondering if it's going to give us the right, but we'll see.
I actually played around with this earlier, so I know it will.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
You already did some.
I specifically was trying to figure out how to figure out how many characters were in each bucket.
Okay.
Whenever I see a Codewars problem, even if I'm not doing it right there, there's a part of me that's working on it in my head always. So, so then all we need to do is, we know that this is going to be how many characters in each of the first 4 buckets, right? And then we have to figure out how many characters go in the last one. So if we do, we take the length of the s, or of the string, right, and we subtract by the 4 times the first 4 buckets, then this number right here, that's the 4 times the first 4 bucket sizes, is going to be how many characters we've used so far.
Yeah. Before
we get to the 5th one. And so that's why we just subtract it from the total length to get how many characters are remaining.
Okay.
Now basically, let's see. We could really I think we could just do a for loop. And then, let's see. So there might be a better way to do this, but this is just the easiest way in my head. Off the top of my head, just create another array that we're going to return, and then
okay, so we made a Cipher R list, and now we're looping through, and we're going to push onto that list, or append.
Yes. So I figure we look through the first 4, and then we're going to use the split. Not split. What is it called? The brackets. Whenever you
slice.
So yeah, there we go. The slice operator here, and we're going to push whatever to the Cipher array. So we should be able to do something just like this, right? S, and then it'll be, how do we want to do this? So it'll be I times first 4 bucket size. Yeah, this is really long because of my variable name, so sorry about that. And then the end of it's going to be the same thing, but then you're just going to add one more of the first 4 bucket sizes, right? Because that's the length of the character. So, because I will be 0 first, and then so this whole expression will evaluate to 0, right? Yeah. And then we just do I times this really long name plus this really long name again, and that should. This looks like there's a lot more code than there actually is.
Okay.
What should we call this to make it less terrible?
Let me zoom out one because I just don't think you can see anything. Oh wait. Oops.
Or I guess we could keep the names, and then we could just say we could just create other variables inside the for loop, right? Those variable names are good at explaining what's going on there, to be fair.
Yeah.
Start index, I guess.
Yeah, nobody said the same thing.
Dope. Thank you, nobodies. And then in index could equal start index plus first for bucket size.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then here we could just do start index and index.
Much better.
Yeah.
All right.
And so that should get the first 4, and then for the last one, all we need to do is do Cipher dot append, and then we're just going to grab. Okay, I think I could just do negative last bucket size. Does that work? It would have to.
Yeah, that should. Or do you have to do negative last bucket size minus 1?
It might be something like this. If I just do negative last bucket size, it might.
No, without the.
What do you mean?
Colon. So negative last bucket size. Let's say the
like
last bucket is 3. Yeah, because just a negative 1 by itself would slice the last character. Right? Oh, never mind. I don't think you need the minus 1. Never mind.
I think I might need this, though. Because this will just grab a single character. And then this should go to the end of the array.
No, because if you do negative 2, it just slices to the end, right?
You know what? Let's play with it. So if we do test negative 2, it'll only get, I think it's going to get S. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
this,
right.
ST.
To the end.
Okay. So, we'll get out of that.
Yes. The Vim is so awesome. It's so beautiful in VS Code that you can use Vim and you can use all the other hotkeys too. Because Vim has some awesome hotkeys and then VS Code has some awesome hotkeys and you can use them both.
I need to learn Vim.
You do. Use Vim Tutor in your terminal. Type in Vim Tutor.
Okay, I will play with that. Yeah, I have a really good friend. He's like, I grew up with him, and he's who helped me learn to program. And he swears by Vim, and then a couple of my classmates swear by Vim, and I'm just like, man, it's just more things to learn.
But once you learn it, it's really helpful. Yes, best decision ever.
There's probably plenty of YouTube. There, if you have a question, YouTube has the answer. I promise. Nobody.
Also, I've already planned to do a video on. So I have a video series that I'm going to do at some point on developer productivity, and one of the videos is on using Vim and VS Code and the shortcuts. So that's what 6 videos from now. So it's going to be a few weeks still.
Did I? Okay, so I think this should...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm returning ciphertext still. So I think if I return cipher array, this should work, right? Because we've already shifted everything, and this should be sorting our portions of our ciphertext into the correct array places, I believe.
Okay.
So if we go here, we run this. Here, let me actually just. I might not. Can you still see my terminal? I might not be in the shared one.
I just saw you type in Python shell.
Okay, cool. So that for some reason just happens when I open my terminal when I'm working on in VS Code when I'm working on Python. See if I run this.
Okay. So you
look.
Ran the tests.
Yeah.
We got 5 out of 5 failed.
Which is interesting because okay, there we go. So they differ. Did it not? What did I? Okay, so it's not grabbing the shifted. versions, right? Because if you look, it's the first one is what we returned, and the second one is what it expected. If we count on,
Okay.
I think we have, yeah, we have it put in the buckets correctly. It's just something's going on with the shift. So,
Okay.
oh, you know what I'm doing? I'm just grabbing from the original text with this S right here instead of from Cipher text.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
One second, 1 second.
Okay.
Extensions. I was gonna look at it. I have so many extensions. Yeah, it should be whatever the most popular. Oh, there's Vim here. Vim emulation for VS Code. I think it's the most popular one. All right. You want to run the tests again?
Yep, I just did.
Oh.
And it looks like.
Hey, we passed a couple.
Yeah. So if we look at the test, we should be passing 1, 2.
Oh, we for the last string, we have a problem with our fifth bucket because it's putting them all together.
Yeah. Because it should be empty.
Yeah.
And when it's not empty, what we're saying is the last bucket size should be 0. So -0 all the way is going to end up giving us. Okay, so if that is. Oh, we could probably just check if last bucket size is 0, and if it is, we just append an empty string, right? Because every other case it should work.
Okay.
Right, because if it's not 0, then it'll be like -1 to the end, so that'll only grab the last character, or -2, so on and so forth,
Yeah.
right?
But if it's 0. Oh, if it's 0, I see it's getting the whole string. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do need a special case.
So what we'll say is if last bucket size is greater than 0, right, because if it's negative, we have some issues. Or should I just say if it's equals? I think we'll stick right now. What's up?
Greater than 0. Okay, yeah.
And then else.
If it's 0, then do that.
Yeah. That should be good. Let's add a little. Oh, my screen got real big. I accidentally hit plus instead of backspace. All right, let me try to run this test again.
Else you didn't put the colon.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you for catching that. All right. Failures 2, and that is actually what we're looking for here, because the 2 that test, or the 2 failed tests involve the D-moving shift.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Cool. So we got that first function done.
So wait, the D-moving is decrypting?
Yeah, it's basically doing the exact opposite of what we just did.
Okay.
And I believe my shift character function should actually. Oh no. That'll be interesting. I think there's a way we can modify it to work for negative numbers as well.
Yeah, we could take in a third parameter too. Like it could even be a Boolean, and then we could, this shift we could times by -1 maybe.
I think we'd have to play with the math for that. If we do I'm curious how negatives work with the modulus operator.
Okay.
So -4 mod 3 would be 2. Does that check out? So if we have 1, 2, 3, and we want to shift by -4. Yeah, I think you can just use the negative number with the modulus. If so,
Okay.
all right, let's. Now I'm really curious because we can just try this here, right? We do b and then -1.
Oh, you're down here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should. I don't think about it. I'm just like I'm here in the code. All right, so if we just do lowercase b and then shift it by -1, we should get lowercase a, and it says, oh wait, I'm still in the replit.
Okay.
It helps to print it. Yeah, so we can when we're doing the demoving shift, we can just use negative numbers instead.
Awesome.
And then for this for loop, instead of plus index, we'll just do minus index.
Okay, so we can reuse the same function, and then we moving shifts. So
yeah, this part right here should be almost identical, except instead of ciphertext, we'll call it plain text because we're decrypting it. We are going to have to do a little pre-processing though, which is just going to be like joining the array on a empty string.
Okay.
We could probably. So if we do something like ciphertext equals, right, that should, because we're always going to be passed an array of strings, so we can, that should just give us our text, and then no semicolons, and then we just actually I don't need to copy, I can just copy and paste.
You're copying the for loop?
Yep.
Okay.
And then so we're enumerating s, but in this case we're actually enumerating over ciphertext. And then instead of shift plus index, it should be shift minus index. Let's see, how does our... We actually might have to negate the shift up here as well, because this is going to be 1. So if we just pass the shift here and then subtract, it's going to be 1, 0, -1 instead of... so we can just do shift equals...
well, will it pass in a negative shift?
No. The test itself... so if you look in the Cipher test, and you get into the last 2 tests, that'll show you how it works. But the tests themselves actually pass in positive integers, not negative. So we would just have to convert it to a negative integer before we start.
Okay. Okay, I see. Should we call this... this doesn't matter, but should we call it S here then? Because it's not a string, it's a list.
I only called that S because they did in the kata. Like I just copy and pasted both of these functions from the kata itself.
Okay, we'll just keep it. That's fine.
Oops. My cursor is in the wrong place. So, I don't know if Python, like how Python handles arguments passed. Like, can I just do shift? Oh, actually, I can probably just do this, right? Negative shift minus index. Does that work?
I'm not sure. I've never done that. I mean, you can try it in the REPL if you want.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right. Let's see here.
I'm gonna Control L. Oops. There.
Wait, what is Control L? Does it just move like where you're at to the top?
Yeah, it's the same thing as running clear in the regular terminal. It clears it.
Oh, I did not know this was a thing. This is a miracle. Okay.
You can do it in the browser too. So if you're in the console in the browser, you can use Control L.
Okay. That's nice to know. We'll just do A, B, C, D, E, I guess, and then oh, you know what? Actually, yeah, we didn't even need that. I could have just used like a 4 under or something, but we'll just print negative index times 4, right?
Oh, that
all right.
works. All
yes.
right.
So.
All right.
All right. So this should be good on. Actually, so if we just do text here and then oh, that's okay. Return plain text. I think that's all we need to do.
Okay.
Because we're taking, so it's giving us an array, and it's saying start the first one, shift by 1, and then shift each one to the left by an increasing number. So that works, and we should okay. So let me try to run this test functions, and yes.
Sweet. It passed all the tests. Awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. Okay.
Okay.
So then we got to take this and put it into the Codewars kata.
Yeah. Let me do it so I can do it on camera. I guess you're going to use it for yours too.
Absolutely, I'm getting those points.
Yes.
It worked.
Okay. So first I'll test it, because testing runs the basic test. Let me move our faces again. Okay. Okay, we pass all the basic ones. Now I'll attempt. Sweet, we passed all 50 tests. Awesome, JT, that was great.
Oh, gee, thanks, nobodies. You said he was hoping we would fail.
What?
That's very.
Oh, I have to scroll down. Woohoo, now where's my pizza? I want some pizza.
Yeah, you should. We solved this, so as a reward, you should order us pizza.
Yeah, or JT did most of the solving. I just helped with typos and talking. Yeah, this is a solution to revel in, JT. That's good.
I'm really happy about it.
Awesome.
There's always a little bit of a dopamine hit when I solve one of these.
Yeah, I'm gonna submit it and look at other people's answers now.
All right, same.
Okay.
Prepare to be humiliated by one-line codes. All right.
How satisfied are we with this kata? It seemed to be really good. I'm gonna say very.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Awesome. So we'll upvote it. Yeah, sometimes these percentages, so 81%, sometimes they're downvoted because of a bug in a specific language that might not be your language, you know? So
yeah,
maybe there was a bug in like Rust or JavaScript or something, but it works perfectly in Python. So I wish there was some kind of a filter for the percentages, maybe.
Yeah, I've actually I've never looked at them ever, and like typically the only thing I look at is the problem itself. I'm like, is this something that I think is an interesting thing to try to solve? But a lot of times what'll happen is I'll get in this area where one of the tests doesn't work or something, and I'll look at the percentage and it's like 30% upvoted or whatever it is called. The satisfaction's like 30%, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I guess that makes sense.
Okay, so this person is just kind of combining the things that we did.
Yeah.
Mostly. I think they have one fewer loops.
Do they? Because.
So they have these two ternaries. And then all of this in a return statement. I don't know.
Well, so they're joining, which So joining itself is going to be a loop as well. I think they have roughly the same number. They're just put in different places, right? Because the joining is, there's two loops in joining, and then there is one loop in the return of moving shift, and there's one loop in the return of demoving shift.
Okay. Is it better than HackerRank? So I've used HackerRank for quite a while, and I tried Codewars years ago, and I thought, oh, this is too goofy, like too much gamification. But then someone got me back into it this year. Actually, the other guest, Daniel, did. And so I think Codewars Challenges, I don't want to say more fun, but I think they're better maybe. And the points, and I really like the interface a lot better in Codewars.
Mm-hmm. The interface is super nice.
Yeah. Wow. There's a lot in these functions.
There are, and I feel like looking at these, I actually feel really good about my code now too.
Yeah.
Because it's
really good.
It's very similar to these, but it's more readable than most of them, I think.
Okay,
I mean, maybe that's just because I wrote it, but
biased toward your own code until 6 months from now, and then you can't read your own code either.
That's fair. Yeah.
So this one I feel like is pretty unreadable. It's kind of hard to read.
I'm trying to find that. Did you have to scroll down a little bit? I wonder if we have the same results on ours, like if it's sorted the same.
I'm not sure. It's upvoted 3 times best practices, 7 times clever, but with how many things that, like, look at this one line. This is difficult. I know it's kind of fun to stick everything in one line, but yeah.
I hate it so much, because like even you, like if you wrote that code, right? So you know what's going on in it and everything. You're gonna come back, like you said, 6 months from now, and just curse the name of past whoever you are. Like
yeah, this is just for Codewars. Like nobody does this in real life. Have we ever used Codeforces? Have you used Codeforces, JT?
I don't know what that is. Is it another Codewars type thing?
I have no idea. I've never heard of it before.
It's a website that hosts competitive programming contests. Okay, that's interesting. It's maintained by a group of competitive programmers from ITMO University, led by some name that I'm not going to try to pronounce, since 2013. Codewars claims to surpass top coder in terms of active contestants. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, maybe when I get better. Maybe when I get to level 1 Q on here, then I'll try that.
That is my goal as well. Where am I at right now, actually? I'm 3Q right now is what I'm at.
Okay. Yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody, today. If you have a recommended challenge on Codewars for us to try out next week, maybe a level 4 or level 5, something around there, and you think it looks good, then post it in the comments below, and we'll check it out, and if JT likes it, then we'll try it out next week. Oh yeah, one more announcement about my channel. I started a Discord today, actually. So if you want to come and chat with me, I'll be in the Discord after this. And I'll be in the Discord to chat live every day at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time every day this week. Thank you. Thanks, Cyberpunk. So, yeah, JT, you have anything else you want to say before we leave?
Not really. Just, keep coding and practicing and getting better, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming back, JT.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
I'll link JT's information below, so if you want to get in touch with him, or if you want to follow him on Codewars and check out his other solutions to challenges that he's done before, you can do that. I'll post that right after this video is over. And if you have any recommendations for this stream, either come to Discord and tell me, or you can post in the comments below. And I will be on Wednesday and Friday for JavaScript streams, and next Sunday for another Python stream. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Take it easy.